So in light of Jordan Love having a very good past month, a very good stretch of games, playing as one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, I think the odds of the Packers giving him some kind of extension this offseason have greatly increased. And if Jordan Love keeps playing as he has the past few weeks, I think there's no doubt that the Packers will want to sign him to a long-term extension. And so I want to look at what could that potential extension look like, because Jordan Love is in an interesting situation. He's in the 4th year of his career. The Packers didn't exercise his 5th-year option this offseason. They instead extended him for 1 season on a little bit of a interesting-looking contract that almost mirrored a 5th-year option, slightly more potential money from incentives, a little bit less guaranteed money, so the Packers sort of hedge their bets a little bit. If, let's say, Jordan Love didn't play well in 2023, they technically had some kind of out and wouldn't have to waste too much money. But Love isn't playing very, very well. And as I said, if he keeps playing this well, I think there's no doubt he's going to get an extension. And so if we look at the top 12 quarterbacks right here, I'll throw it up. This is top 12 quarterbacks when it comes to a yearly basis. Joe Burrow at the top, 55 mil, Herbert 52. Then it goes all the way down to Daniel Jones at $40 million. So in my mind, I don't think there's any way that Jordan Love will make any less than $40 million. The fact that Daniel Jones got that last season, he hasn't even played well this year, got injured. There's no doubt Jordan Love is going to make more than $40 million. Then as you sort of progress and look at these different quarterbacks and try to contemplate, should Jordan Love get this kind of money, you also have to take into account that so often, when a new quarterback gets a big deal, they just jump the former quarterback because the salary cap is growing. Players are going to continue to make a lot more money progressively as the years go by, which is why we saw lots of new contracts this offseason. Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, lots of them jumped each other. And so I think the only way that Jordan Love actually gets, if he were to actually jump Joe Burrow, which I don't think will happen, unless Jordan Love plays as he has the rest of the season and the Packers go on some kind of tear in the playoffs and he still plays at that top tier level, I think you would have an argument that Jordan Love could become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I would lean toward that most likely not happening, just because it's still his first season. Will the Packers give him that much money after year 1? Maybe. And if you look back to Aaron Rodgers in his first year when he got his contract, it was in the middle of the season. He became the 4th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So the Packers didn't make him the highest paid QB. And so I think something similar to that, in my opinion, could happen. But clearly it depends on the rest of the season. If the Packers make the playoffs, how does he play in the playoffs? That kind of thing. But if we look here under Jalen Hurts is at $51 million. And if I believe, as I said, he'll make more than 40, the odds are he'll be in the $40 to $50 million range, most likely, in my opinion, if we sort of look at his body of work so far. And I could see him potentially making $50 million a year, potentially. Maybe 45. I think the $45 to $50 million range, based on his recent play, if it continues, would make the most sense, in my opinion, because it will be tough to jump Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Herbert Burrow, unless he has a crazy December and crazy playoffs and it's so obvious that he's one of the best in the league. Then he could potentially push those guys, but I still think we need to see more before that happens. And one interesting thing to note that I wasn't aware of until in the past few days, the Packers can't extend Jordan Love until May of 2024. The reason being, I read from Rob Demovsky of ESPN, is that there's an NFL rule that teams can't extend a player who had an extension recently until a year has passed from that previous extension. So because the Packers gave him a small extension this past offseason, they have to wait till next May, according to Rob Demovsky, to get it done. So that means that there's not going to be an extension done until May, based on what Rob Demovsky had to say. And honestly, if that wasn't a rule, I would say maybe it's smart for the Packers to get a deal done right now, because Jordan could potentially agree to, let's say, a cheaper contract, considering it may be slightly riskier to give him one now than if he plays really well the rest of the season. But at the same time, that's not a possibility. So odds are he gets an extension this offseason. I mean, I think that unless he has a terrible December and ends the year terribly and everyone's like, oh shoot, was that just a fluke? Which I do not think it is. But I think that's the only scenario where he doesn't get one. I think odds are very, very high that Jordan Love gets an extension. And my guess is he'll make $45 to $50 million per year, in my opinion, based on quarterbacks progressively getting more money and based on some of the other guys who, Daniel Jones, who's at $40 million per year. Love is looking like one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. So that's my opinion on the situation. We will see as time progresses. Clearly, it's going to be interesting to watch how the Packers utilize that money, because it's nice when you have a young quarterback on a rookie contract because you can build around him, With Jordan Love, that's probably not going to happen just because he didn't start till his fourth season. So it's a little different situation for Jordan Love as opposed to most quarterbacks in the NFL. But that's all for this video. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below.